Hi there, beautiful. How are you today? It's Sarah here from Proud Happy Brave, and today I wanted to answer a subscriber question I received. It's a great question, and it is, how do I set healthy boundaries? So, first of all, what are boundaries? I see boundaries as the set of standards that you uphold for yourself and how others act around you. So it's basically drawing a line as to what is okay and what isn't okay. It's good to have boundaries for yourself because it's showing your self-respect about what you value, and it's also encouraging others to show you respect as well. So that's important for getting along with people and making sure that we stay in a healthy headspace and all that. So I've got 5 steps for setting some healthy boundaries. Let's dive in. The first step is knowing yourself. So boundaries are all about what's important to you and your core values. So you need to get clear on these to set effective boundaries. So how I do this is by journaling and thinking about it, and you can find prompts out there. I'll link to a post I've got to help you work out your core values, or you can also just journal, free journal it to see what comes up, or think about different scenarios and see what your gut reaction is and see how you feel about that. That's often a good indicator about what behaviour we're happy with and what we're not happy with. So that's step 1. Step 2, this is a bit of a consideration, is to be aware that it's not always personal. So how many of us have been hurt by someone saying an offhand comment? Yeah, probably a lot of us. People are in their own little bubbles and they say things without thinking about how it will affect others. So in some cases, people may stir you up because they find it fun, such as my husband. He loves to do that from time to time. But more often than not, they don't realise what they're doing has upset us. And so realising that for myself was an eye-opener, and it made me easier to stay calm and unoffended when someone said something. So I just wanted to bring that up, but it's certainly not a reason not to set boundaries. I'll also link to a great guest post I have on my blog about not taking things so personally. So it's really helpful. Okay, step 3 is to decide on your boundaries. So think about what is never okay. That's definitely where you want to have a boundary. And where do you want to have healthier boundaries? In various areas of your life. So say work would be a big one, or career. Relationships, friends, parents, partners, kids, all those kinds of things. You can even have boundaries about your habits and things like that as well. So also think about how you will react if your boundaries are crossed or pushed. So it's a great idea to decide this beforehand when we're in a calm headspace, rather than waiting until it's happened and we're all fired up and then perhaps acting in a way that we didn't really want to act. So that's also something to consider. The 4th step is to communicate your boundaries. So unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, people aren't mind readers. So unless you tell them, they're not really aware of what's going on in your head or how they've affected you. So you want to bring it to their attention. So the best way to do this without things getting fired up is to actually communicate it in terms of your point of view. So I found a great framework, from Healthline, which is, I feel blank when blank because blank. What I need is blank. So I feel stressed out when you give me extra work because I've already got a lot of work to do. What I need is a bit of quiet space to get this work done and maybe some help from my co-workers. Something like that. You can also communicate non-verbally if you're in a situation where something's happening that's not okay with you. So, if someone's coming into your personal space, you could, sort of put out your arm to keep them at distance length. Or if someone's, being abusive, you could just walk out of the room, and that's a pretty clear indication that you're not okay with it. There might be some verbal communication after that, but yeah, if things are getting heated, that's definitely not a bad thing, just to leave that situation if you can and let the parties cool down. Okay, and then I'll also link to a podcast with Nancy Levine. It was really interesting to hear her take on it and how to communicate your boundaries. Step 5, practice upholding boundaries. So if you're new to this or your self-esteem is a bit low, then it can be really intimidating and confronting to try and communicate with people about your boundaries or even upholding your boundaries. So give it a bit of time to practice. Start with something small. Start with saying no to a function that you don't want to attend. You could say, no, sorry, I've already got plans. And you could totally have plans with yourself. So not lying, totally true. But it gets you out of that situation if you don't want to be there. And also practice by having boundaries around your own behaviour. So, make sure if you're working, take breaks every hour or something to make sure you're staying healthy. And then you could just, if you've got a boundary around working to a certain time, don't keep on working. Make yourself stop and leave, pack up and leave. So there's some examples of ways you can practice upholding your boundaries. And showing yourself respect like that will also help others to show you respect as well. So they're my 5 steps. I've also got 3 success tips for making this work. So the first step is to practice personal development. So work on your self-esteem and work on getting braver, and that will really help. The second success is practice self-care. So when you're looking after yourself, it's easier to feel better about ourselves and feel more energetic and calmer. And then that means we can deal a lot better with what's being thrown at us. And we're less likely to fly off the handle, and we're more likely to be able to be proactive about upholding our boundaries. Okay, my third success tip is develop coping strategies you can call upon. So sometimes things will happen that upset us regardless of whether we have boundaries or not, unfortunately. So have some backup strategies you can call upon in these situations. So some of my favourites are taking deep breaths to calm myself if I'm getting riled up or upset. Imagining a protective bubble around myself that only positive stuff can come through and the negative stuff just bounces off. And thinking of happy memories to remind myself of positive times and that this situation is temporary and it will pass. So I hope that helps you. Let me know in the comments below if you have any thoughts or feelings on this, if you have your own tips for setting boundaries. A bit of a recap. The 5 steps for setting boundaries are: know yourself, be aware that it's not always personal, decide on your boundaries, communicate your boundaries, and practice upholding your boundaries. And my 3 success tips are: do personal development, practice self-care, and develop coping strategies you can call upon. So yeah, let me know how you get on with this. It's definitely worthwhile setting up boundaries to keep us in a healthy space and make sure we're respecting ourselves and other people are respecting ourselves. So yeah, good luck with it and let me know how you go. Okay, bye for now.